Hello, everyone. Butts and Coconuts here with something a little different. I've been really busy. Tim Tom has been really busy. We've been talking about getting another episode out of Brunch Before Weiss Schwarz, but ultimately the problem this month is we've both been traveling a lot. We both went to nationals. We both went to the recent English event in Anaheim, and then I'm out of town for the next week because of Thanksgiving. And Thomas has been really sick, so he can't even really speak right now. So hopefully we'll get something out there soon. But so since Thomas is incapacitated, I decided that I would make a tournament recap of my experience at Anaheim for English. So the deck I played was Attack on Titan. It was a yellow red core build. It was Aaron level 1, Mikasa level 3, with the Mikasa level 3 healers as well. Uh, it's literally UA Pang's list from Strictly Broken. If you want to check that out on his channel, I can leave a link below for the list and sort of like his thoughts behind the deck. I really like the deck because it was a bunch of four ofs. It was really easy to pick up and learn before the event. I had some stuff I wanted to try out, but between this event and Japanese Nationals, I just didn't really have the time to explore options. So I just wanted a really basic list to start with. Anyway, so round one of the tournament, I played against Mono Green Attack on Titan. It's the Levi Squad level 1 combo. Basically, if you assemble these the 5 pieces of Exodia on the field, then the Levi in center is like 11-5, and the two sides are 6-5 power with hand encore. I think they all have hand encore, and they're all like level 2 or something. I have played against the deck, but honestly, not in like over a year. Um, all I know is every time I went for reverses with Aaron on either side of his lanes and the two smaller lanes, I was able to get my reverses and salvage Moby Gears, so that's what kept me in the game. I think the only time I was able to actually kill the Levi in center was by using the Armin 2-1, the one that rests to give something 2500 power and can't be targeted. But overall, it was a pretty easy game for me, I guess, since his deck plays for field so effectively, since it just respawns its field with its climax combo, and it's just trying to have these like beaters with hand on core. It was very easy for me to get like reverses with the Mikasa level 3 burner. So round two, what the fuck? Round two, I played against another Attack on Titan. This one was yellow red core. His build was probably very, very similar to mine. It was a dude with a strictly broken shirt. He knew UA. I don't know if he was sponsored by UA. I would assume so because he was wearing the shirt. Um, this mirror, this like yellow red Aaron build mirror is so horrendous, and I don't have a lot of experience with it, but I've thought about it a lot. And the things I really didn't like about this match I had with this guy was I hit level 1 first, which is usually like where you want to be because then you're the player who gets to slam down errands. And then the nice thing about this matchup is if you get one errand reverse, then you deny 2 reverses on their turn because one errand will bounce to your hand and then you Moby Gear the other errand away. But I didn't have a wind, so we had these couple of turns where we were just clocking and passing. Neither player wanted to commit characters to the front row. And I was really digging for the wind. I couldn't get a wind. So we both just skipped a couple of turns, and then he was the first player at this point to push up characters he had in the background and just start attacking, which forces me to attack because otherwise I just keep passing and he keeps attacking, and then I like totally definitely lose the game. So it didn't really matter to me that I was playing into Aaron at that point. Um, After the game, he told me at that point he had drawn a crap ton of maneuver gears, which makes sense because he could use the maneuver gear to avoid my Aaron reverses, uh, even though he pushed his characters to the front row. Uh, Me, on the other hand, I was like out three maneuver gears. I took them as damage, or I milled them on brainstorms or something, or they were in stock. I was like out three at level zero, so it was very unlikely for me to dig up my third copy of mobility gear at that point. Anyways, I think he played that matchup pretty smart. So grats to him. I believe he also went 5-1 and got ninth place or something. So yeah, that sucks. Uh, Round three, I played against Nisekoi Sweets. This was one of the more interesting matchups to me just because there's a part of me that was like a little afraid of Sweets because it has the like anti-event, the 1-0 green that it's like an on reverse plus and anti-event. So thankfully he never got that combo off, but I was really afraid of it. This game was weird because rarely have I ever elected to, maybe even never have I ever elected to attack with only two characters at level one. I had only two errands. He had two characters. I think one was like Akatsuki, and the other was the Haru that runs in front of something else. I didn't know if he would be attentive enough to the situation to move the Haru run in front of a third character if I had played a third character. Um, so I don't know how that would have gone if I did play three characters. I decided to just play it safe and play two errands against his two characters to get two reverses, and then thankfully I was able to snowball my advantage that way. It seemed like a really rough game for him. At level zero, he took seven blue cards as damage, and then he leveled blue, and then he like clocked a blue card, and then he played two brainstorms. He whiffed his brainstorm, and then he played a Taige, and then he attacked once. And this is after my turn of double Aaron, I believe. And then at that point, he had six blue cards in clock. So after my next turn, he had six blue cards in clock, and then in my head, I was like, okay, he's going to lose this compression, because if he wants to play the green cards in his hand, he has to clock green and then level green in this scenario. So that was really exciting to me. He clocked blue and leveled blue again, and he still like just didn't have a lot of cards to throw out. So it just seemed like a really really rough game for him. And then like Attack on Titan is just such a good deck, regardless. So that just made the matchup even easier for me. Um, he got a couple of heals off with his clock kicker. He never milled three sweets characters, but if he had, I had mobility gears to counter that, and then I just kind of burned him out with Mikasa. Round four, I played against Log Horizon. It was someone from my locals. Shoutouts to SD Weiss scene, I guess. Uh, Log Horizon doesn't really do anything. That's that's what I decided real quick. It's only like somewhat of a deck with the power up set because then it gets stuff like uh, a decent early play, a plussing combo. I believe it's a non-attack combo, which is nice. It just gets like random tools that are nice for the deck. It might even get a different plussing brainstorm. I'm not sure on that, but yeah, whatever. So I think he was able to play for field pretty well with this 1-1 red 7-5 guy with these with the 2K punches. So props to him for that, I guess. I didn't get as many Aaron reverses as I thought I was going to get. Like his deck just didn't lay on its side to Aaron, which was surprising because I guess I just don't expect much from Log Horizon personally. Uh, I completely forgot about Shiroe being anti-burn. Uh, I I was just so fixated on Shiroe being a level assist. like a times 1k level assist. So that was interesting. Um, I winded Shiroi one turn, which meant he could play one less healer on his next turn if he even had healers. For it's really easy for Attack on Titan to sandbag pretty well because you want to leave nothing for them to run into, so you have more Mikasa reverses. And then this is also effective against Log Horizon because their finisher combo is on reverse burn one. Um, so yeah, it was just a pretty effective game. I didn't have access to my Mikasa burns because he replayed the Shiroi the turn after I winded it, but I think I was just in such a good position from plussing as much as I did all day, or all game, that I was still able to kill him even with the anti-burnout. Uh, let's see. Round 5, I played against Sword Art Online. He was playing a Yuki switch build. His climax spread was like 4 bar, 2 pants, 2 stock soul or something. This seemed like an incredibly difficult game for him because he just did not draw the Zekken Yuki. So he wasn't able to like plus, he wasn't able to assemble pieces. He was basically clocking every turn. I think he even had like 3 stock cards to have attackers. I don't really remember it that well, but it was just such a slaughter. And it wasn't even like the power of Attack on Titan um, that made it that hard for him because Yuki's not on reverse and like it's just him whiffing his combo. Like it's just something that could happen to any deck. Um, he was playing Switch, so I searched up the anti or not the anti what do you call it? It's the Aaron promo, the 3K punch that can send stuff to memory because that messes with Switch because they need a full board to switch. So that was that was a pretty good one to search, but he wasn't even in a position to use the Switch combo because he didn't really have the stock or the cards in hand. Like he didn't have the cards in hand to really field 5 characters. Like I think the math was perfect where if he had the back row Asuna, he could like search more cards to have a full field, but then he wouldn't have the cards in hand to pitch for the actual Switch combo itself. So yeah, that was a very unfortunate game for my opponent. But yeah, it's just another game of me getting a bunch of advantage, sandbagging a little bit, and then getting Mikasa burns. And then my final round again was versus Attack on Titan. Uh, I was a little worried because of how my match went round 2. But thankfully, my opponent was not playing the new stuff. His build seemed a little weird, just like at the very beginning, and I just straight up asked him like, "Yo, are you not playing the new stuff?" And he said no, he wasn't. So it's like old Attack on Titan is more of like a field-based deck, I guess. His climax spread was really weird. It was like he was running doors and bars and stock souls, like the arm and stock soul combo. He didn't get to do the arm and stock soul combo, which kind of worried me. Like the idea of it could have been worrisome because he had globals. The Armins would be like 8k. It might be a little hard for my errands to reverse. It's also just harder for if I don't have 3 errands, he gets better control of what lanes get reversed and what don't with that Armin. Uh, let's see. Uh, Also like he's playing mobility gear. Like even though it's not new Attack on Titan, he still has mobility gear. He actually filled his back row up with 2 characters really fast. So he actually wasn't able to utilize the mobility gear, especially because how Attack on Titan ends up being is like your opponent should be keeping their field every turn, because if you draw more wins, you obviously want stuff to reverse with Aaron. So that's basically how it was going. He was killing whatever weenies I was putting out, and then my errands were returning to my hand, and I was doing like double Aaron like practically every turn. So he just didn't have room to have open slots to utilize the mobility gear to deny my errand reverses, which was pretty good. Um, by level 3, it was a little interesting. I actually just could not keep track of my Mikasas. Like, I was just consistently out to, like, immediately after every refresh. So I only was able to find 2 Mikasas. Uh, yeah, that was a game that really made me wonder if maybe Salvage Brainstorm was worth playing, because it's like you just can't do anything in that scenario. And pretty much every other game I played that would happen, I was just like, okay, I'll just refresh and then I'll immediately mobility gear. But I didn't have that. I didn't have that opportunity just because I think I took the Mikasas as damage at 1, and then I refresh, and then they go to my grave when I level, and then I think I just refresh again, take them as damage or something. So I was only able to have 2, but that's still a lot of burns. I didn't kill him outright with my first turn of Mikasa's. Um, so I did a very tricky play. Like, he played some pretty big characters. He played um, Levi Restander, and Aaron Cancelburn, and then he had a weenie lane. He had the 1-0 Krista that's a field punch. So I had to use the Mikasa healer. I used the Mikasa healer, which was across from the Krista, to swap the Aaron Brainstorm from my back row into the front row, so Krista couldn't crash into that. And then I mobility geared to save one of my burners away from his Levi Restander to both deny the restand and deny him sacking slots, and just to save my burner and use it again next turn because I had another thank you climax in hand. So yeah, that was a pretty interesting game. Uh, he actually was able to utilize the violent ripples Levi, kind of um, well, like he utilized it well because he just used it to kill my Armin runner more or less. Like, he used it to he like played 2 in 1 turn to minus power from my Armin runner, and then he played 2 things that could kill it in either lane. So I thought that was pretty cute. But yeah, I guess I'm just lucky I played against someone who didn't pick up the new stuff yet. So overall, my record 5-1, and I got 12th place. So bubbling is not something new to me. I've played in a bunch of events and stuff, and sometimes you just bubble out. The guy I played round 2 also went X1 and got 9th place. Um, a couple of my friends went X1 and got, like, one of them got 11th, one of them got 14th or 15th, I think. The problem is the problem with bubbling is not like an individual thing. It's just like, this tournament clearly should have been another round, I think. And um, someone from Bushiroad, or someone who understands this more than me, could correct me on this. But if you're going to force it into a top 8 cut, like, you're not going to adjust the number of top seats based on attendance, then you really should make it feel like less of a coin flip. Because I feel like I did well. I feel like so the exact numbers, before I continue this rant, is I believe there were 2 XOs in top 8, and there were 6 X1s in top 8, and then there were 7 X1s who didn't make it into top 8. So over half of the X1s did not qualify. They didn't get the Konosuba mat. They didn't get the chance to qualify for Worlds. And I think that's pretty ridiculous. It's not uncommon, like, mathematically, for like 1 or 2 X1s to get screwed out of top, but I feel like there were more X1s out of top than there were X1s in top. I feel like that this could have been easily changed by either having the event be top 16 as an attendance thing, or also based on attendance, adding a number round, or adding another round, because in that case, uh, like, if there were one more round, there would be 6 to 7 X1s in top. Well, there'd be 6 to 7 X1s period, and then there would be 1 XO, or maybe it's 7 to 8 X1s. It's something like that. So, and that's pretty normal. Like only one in that case, like 0 to 1 X1s wouldn't top, and that's a lot less frustrating than over half the X1s not topping. I don't know if I'm really expressing my frustration on this very well, but it was just something that really bothered me that day. And I've talked to some other people that have gone to other events, and they said other events were run like that, and I think that's kind of fucking ridiculous. Yeah. So I'm at least happy enough to walk away thinking that I did well that day. Some of my matchups were pretty easy by nature, but um, Weiss Schwarz, Weiss Schwarz as a game requires a bit of luck anyway, I think, to do well that many games in a row. Either that or a bit of skill. So I at least feel good about my record, and uh, I don't know. I just can't help but feel bad about the results though at the same time, especially for um, everyone else, because I don't think I've ever gone to a Yu-Gi-Oh event, for instance, where that many like X1s get screwed out of top. Yu-Gi-Oh events can get way bigger than these Weiss events though. Like this event, the Weiss event was 144-ish, 147, somewhere between 140 and 150. But these Yu-Gi-Oh events they also go for like more than 6 rounds, and they usually have more than top 8. So that's all based around the attendance, and that's like all mathematically decided that like oh you know we're not going to have 1,000 person tournament with like 7 rounds in top 8 because then like 100 people are going to get screwed over if we do something like that. So I don't know. I hope that someone in a decent position like at Bushi Road might see this and might bring it up with someone else and talk about it or not. I just kind of wanted to briefly bring it up as a part of this tournament report while it was still fresh on my mind. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. This is just a little quickie I wanted to put out just to put something out in the absence of videos, and hopefully December is a little less hectic than November, and hopefully Tim Tom is feeling better soon so we can get to recording some new stuff for you guys. This is Butts and Coconuts. Peace.